Good evening. Once again, poetry for grade 11s according to the CAPS documents, South African curriculum for English home language, and I will be going over Sonnet 130, My Mistress' Eyes Are Nothing Like the Sun. Having received some feedback from the other videos that I did, I realized that perhaps maybe I need to zoom in more to make the annotations clearer for people watching on a video, especially if they're looking at a small screen such as a cell phone. So what I've tried to do is increase the lighting, make the colors that I've used for annotation stick out a little bit more. I'm still working on setting up the video so that everything is aligned properly. It gives me the ability to zoom in and out. So I'm still working on that, but I hope this time it's a little bit easier. For some of my other poems, I'm also going to try and do things a little bit differently. And then the other thing that I'm going to attempt to do is put up not so much a transcript of my explanation, but the notes. So the typed out notes that I've made of the notations, the figures of speech, the poetic devices, everything that goes into analyzing a poem. But for the purposes of this video so far, I've just got the paper in front of me and I will then go through the annotations. So firstly, I'm going to read the poem like I've done in the other videos, and then I'm going to go through the explanation of the poem, going to highlight the structure, the figures of speech, the poetic devices, and basically sum up what William Shakespeare's purpose was in writing this particular poem. So let's go for it. Sonnet 130. My mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. My mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, why then her breasts are dun. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. I have seen roses damasked red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. And in some perfumes there is more delight than in the breath from that my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. And yet, by heaven, I think my love as rare as any she belied with false compare. All right, so firstly, Shakespearean sonnet or Elizabethan sonnet. We have 14 lines, rhyme scheme of A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. Now, somebody asked me, where do I get the rhyme scheme from? Well, you follow the letters of the alphabet, firstly, and they go according to the rhyming words at the end of each line. So what I've done is, using different colors, is highlight those words. So, sun, done, A, red head, B, B. So you go down the list, okay? So sun, A, red, B, done, A, head, B. White C, cheeks D, delight C, reeks D. And so you go on. No, go, sound, ground, rare, compare. And this is what sets a Shakespearean sonnet apart from a Petrarchan sonnet because of the rhyming couplet at the end. My love as rare with false compare. Okay, rhyming couplet. Couplet, two, couple, etc. Okay, we have an octave. So my mistress' eyes ending with from my mistress reeks. So those are 8 lines, octo, think of an octopus, an octagon, 8. I love to hear her speak up until she belied with false compare. That is the sestet. Now the purpose of those two separations, even though you might see that the poem itself is not separated, is looking at an idea, a thought, an argument, and then developing or explaining some of the points within that example, argument, thought, etc. So, how I sometimes tell my students is to think of a mini essay. So, the poet starts out by saying that his mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. So, we get the idea that he is now going to describe his mistress. So, it speaks about her hair, her lips, her skin, her cheeks, her breath. So, all of that is looking at what she is not. And the sestet develops that idea and includes the conclusion. So just like an essay, you've got an introduction, you've got a thought development, and then you have a conclusion. That's basically what a sonnet is doing, just very concisely and a lot more poetically. So let's go through the iambic pentameter, and then I'll explain some of the words as well as the figurative language. So iambic pentameter is a fancy way of saying that in each line there are 5 sets of a non-stressed and a stressed syllable. Now, this is all the difference when you've got words such as produce and produce. The way in which you say it, the way in which you stress the syllables gives you 2 completely different words. If I produce something, I am making it. If it is produce, I'm referring to fruits and vegetables. Okay, one is a noun, one is a verb. So, if I read the first couple of lines, my mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. You will notice that there is a da-da, 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 okay? Unstressed, stressed. Each line, 5 sets of the unstressed and stressed syllable. Now, if you Google a little bit and go on YouTube and some of the other various websites, you will find people who have tried to put the sonnets to music, which of course it works. It's got a beat, it's got a rhythm, and no matter how fast or slow you do the tempo, it works. Some people have also tried to rap the sonnets. I believe that there is a very musical and accomplished man in the UK who goes around basically showing the similarities between the structure of sonnets and the way people structure rap music. So you can always Google that. It's quite interesting. So that's iambic pentameter. Now, why does that matter? Because in an exam, they're going to ask you, what type of sonnet is this? Give reasons for your answer. So number 1, Shakespearean or Elizabethan sonnet. It's got 14 lines, octave and a sestet, rhyming couplet, iambic pentameter. Gives you more options for more marks. Then, secondly, we've got the word dun, which is dull coloring. Okay, it's an off-white. We've then got damasked, which is varied patterning. Sometimes if you look at certain roses, they seem to be a mix of 2 colors. That's damasked. Then we've got reeks. If something reeks, it's got a very, very strong smell, usually unpleasant. Another word you can use is pungent. Then we've got belied, which means misrepresented. Okay, if you think of the word lie, okay, you're not telling the truth, you're not stating things as they are, it's a misrepresentation. And then we've got false compare, so an exaggerated comparison. So you're comparing something, but because it's false, there's an element of exaggeration to it. Okay, so then we've got the word but and yet. Now those usually represent a change in tone or indicate a change in tone. So when we find that in poetry, the person is saying one thing, and the minute they say but, you know that you're going to get the other side of the story. Yes, that was a lovely meal, but maybe too salty. Okay, so you're looking at two sides to the story. So now you might be thinking, okay, but what is William Shakespeare doing here? Because it doesn't really sound like he's complimenting the woman. He says that this is his mistress, so he obviously loves her, or she's a lover of his, or something along that line. And I mean, wasn't he all about love? And he wrote these amazing sonnets, and everybody talks about Romeo and Juliet and love stories. So why is he basically bringing his woman down to earth? You know, surely you're supposed to compliment or flatter a woman. Now, that is a very good question. The reason he's done what he's done is to show up the other poets of the time, and especially the content of Petrarchan sonnets. So Petrarchan sonnets, or Italian sonnets, make the woman out to be something that she's not. Okay, it's that exaggeration. Your hair is as soft as the down of 1,000 geese. Okay, really? Really now? No. Okay, and that is what Shakespeare's doing. He's saying, no, that's not what the woman looks like, and it's certainly not what my woman looks like. And then right at the end, he has this final little jab where he says, but that's not the point. It's not what she looks like that makes me love her. Okay, the fact that I love her despite all her flaws, that's what makes this true love. This is what makes it lasting. This is what makes it count. Anyone can love a beautiful woman, but recognizing that everybody is imperfect and taking that and making it seem perfect, that is what love is all about. That is what Shakespeare is saying. So if you know that song by John Legend, all your perfect imperfections, that's what he's speaking about. Okay, so figurative language. Eyes are nothing like the sun. It's a reverse simile. Okay, so instead of comparing the eyes to the sun, he's saying that they're not anything like the sun. Her lips are not as red as coral. Her breasts are not white as snow. Her hair is not this perfect shade of ebony. Okay, he speaks about the black wires. Yes, he's seen beautiful roses, but he doesn't really see that in her cheeks, that color. He's quite well aware of the beautiful perfumes in the world, but that's not the breath of his mistress. And yes, he loves to hear her speak, but he knows that music is better. He's never seen a goddess because his woman walks on the ground. But yet, and then he makes an oath, by heaven, okay, I think my love is as rare as anything that you can falsely compare your woman to. So you might compare her hair to the down of 1,000 geese, and her skin is as perfect as porcelain, and her eyes are as bright as the sun glittering on the sea. Wonderful. But that's not the case, and that's false, and that's why their love is not as true as his love. Okay, hyperbole, outrageous comparisons, okay, they're exaggerated. Goddess, damn roses, her eyes are like no. Then you've got enjambment, okay, the thoughts that run onto other lines. So the sentences don't really end at the end of the line, they continue on, okay, from the octave, okay. Okay, the standards of beauty, because obviously they're going to ask you about the theme, and perhaps they gave you an essay topic on the theme, and how does Shakespeare's use of imagery and diction complement the theme. So you need to know the theme and its standards of beauty. You can also look at what else? True beauty, fake comparison, concepts of beauty. So anything surrounding beauty. The tone is bold and frank, and it changes to admiration and devotion. So all the way through, he's very bold, he's very frank, he's stating it like it is. And then when he says yet, the tone changes to admiration and devotion. There is no suggestion that he does not love women. Okay, so you need to keep that in mind. So that is Sonnet 130. Gone through all the figures of speech, the basic understanding of the poem, and remember he's trying to up the other poets and the content of the poems and basically calling their bluff. The next video is going to be another poem, and then once I'm poems, I will also do videos on the questions and essay topics, especially with the revised syllabus for 2020. There is a literature assignment that requires you to write a poetry essay, so I will go over it as well. Thank you.